Welcome to Africo Tales. In the vibrant heart of Azania, where skyscrapers touched the clouds and ambition pulsed through every street, a formidable woman named Monica once stood on the precipice of a life many envied. She was a luminary in the Chuan legal world, her brilliance matched only by her quiet strength. But even the strongest foundations can crack under the weight of betrayal, especially when whispered by the man who promised forever. This is the tale of how Monica, scorned by a billionaire husband and body-shamed after the sacred miracle of motherhood, discovered a power within herself far greater than any empire, transforming her pain into an unbreakable legacy that would echo through the bustling avenues of Azania for generations. 6 weeks had spun into existence since the birth of her twins, yet in the opulent penthouse overlooking Azania's glittering skyline, Monica felt a profound solitude. Her body, once a testament to graceful strength, now bore the sacred marks of creation, a testament to sleepless nights and profound sacrifice. As she gazed into the polished mirror of their marble bathroom, the woman staring back was not the sharp corporate lawyer who once commanded boardrooms, but a mother, weary yet fiercely protective. The city's vibrant hum, usually a source of energy, felt distant, a cruel reminder of a life that was slipping away. That morning, the chill in the luxurious dining room was colder than the air conditioning. Dixon, her husband, a man whose empire stretched across the continent like a colossus, sat waiting, his gaze as flat as the untouched breakfast before them. "I want a divorce," he declared, his words sharp as a freshly honed blade. No warning, no gentle prelude, just a decree over the clinking of cutlery. Monica's hands trembled, but the ancient wisdom of her ancestors, though the chameleon walks slowly, it eventually reaches its destination, resonated deep within her, calming the storm in her voice. "Why?" she asked, her voice steady, despite the ache that threatened to shatter her composure. Ixon shifted, discomfort a fleeting shadow on his usually impervious face. "You're not the woman I married anymore. You've changed. Cindy is back." The name, like a poisoned arrow, struck Monica's heart. Cindy, the dazzling, elusive woman who had once held Dixon's heart before Monica, the ghost of a past love, now materializing to claim her future. Monica, a woman who had built her career brick by brick, finding love and stability in Dixon's lavish world of private jets and grand ballrooms, had believed his whispered promises of being his equal, his partner. Their wedding, a spectacular affair amidst glittering chandeliers in an exclusive Azanian hotel, had been the talk of the city. He had vowed forever, not realizing that for a man like Dixon, promises were as fragile as the glass flutes that toasted their union. Monica had embraced her role, stepping back from her demanding career to build the home he claimed he desired, believing in their shared vision. Yet, even as her identity as a lawyer receded, the subtle whispers of intuition, like the rustle of dry leaves before a storm, began to warn her that their meticulously crafted life might be built on sand, not the bedrock of enduring love. The cracks, barely visible at first, deepened with Monica's pregnancy. Dixon had initially reveled in the news, flaunting it at corporate galas, a proud father-to-be in the glare of the Azanian social scene. But as the months wore on, his attention drifted, like a canoe untethered from its dock. Late nights at the Yipoiu office became frequent, business trips endless. He worked late, traveled excessively, and avoided the intimate conversations that once formed the bedrock of their connection. Monica, attributing it to the stress of his expanding empire, tried to bridge the growing distance, but it felt like an invisible wall rising between them. By her third trimester, his absence was stark, an undeniable void. Doctors' appointments were skipped, her exhaustion dismissed, and her pleas for help with the nursery met with irritation. The once radiant glow of motherhood began to dim under the weight of solitude. Then, one evening, a phone call froze. Her. Dixon's voice, imbued with a warmth she hadn't heard in months, spoke a name. Cindy. The former flame, a striking woman who had vanished when Dixon was still ascending, had returned. Monica, confronting him, was met with a dismissive smirk. "Cindy's just a business contact. You're overreacting. Focus on the babies." The words were an open wound, confirming her deepest, most painful suspicion. The betrayal solidified after the twins' birth. Exhausted, vulnerable, and navigating the profound demands of new motherhood, Monica watched Dixon's excuses multiply. Nights away became routine, marked by urgent business claims. Gifts intended for clients mysteriously bore Cindy's initials, and soon gossip columns flashed photos of Dixon dining with the familiar blonde. While the media spun tales of harmless business meetings, Monica knew the deeper truth, the kind that rips at the soul. "The fish that gets away has no stories to tell," an old Azanian saying warned, and Dixon was weaving a tale of deceit. The culmination of this creeping treachery arrived one night when Dixon stumbled home, reeking of a perfume that was not hers. He slumped onto the opulent couch, muttering Cindy's name in a drunken haze. Monica sat in the nursery, tears falling silently onto her baby's blanket, the cityscape lights blurring through her sorrow. It was a profound, quiet realization. His betrayal had not begun after childbirth, but had been steadily unfurling, disguised by charm and the shimmer of wealth. His indifference, even as she healed from labor and faced sleepless nights with two infants, became a chilling weapon. He criticized her appearance, subtly mocking her body for not bouncing back, each jab a reminder that his attention had irrevocably shifted. Monica wrestled with the bitter truth. How could the man who once lauded her brilliance now reduce her to physical flaws? She had sacrificed her thriving career, believing in his promise of partnership, only to be left clutching newborns and the shattered fragments of her trust. Whispers of Cindy's return intensified, fueled by mutual acquaintances who revealed Dixon was quietly funding Cindy's failing advertising agency. What appeared to be casual business dinners were, in truth, intimate gatherings layered with old memories. Dixon gravitating towards a familiar past instead of valuing the woman who anchored his present. A tree does not reject its roots, Monica thought. But Dixon seemed determined to sever his. Every confrontation became a ritual of pain. Monica pleading for honesty, Dixon responding with icy detachment. His once warm gaze now held only irritation, treating her as an inconvenience, as though motherhood had stripped her of every quality he once admired. Yet, beneath the pain, a quiet resolve began to stir. Like a skilled hunter observing its prey, Monica started journaling every insult, every suspicious bank transfer, every public flaunting of Cindy. Her dormant legal instincts, like ancient spirits reawakening, recognized the insidious tactics of control. Dixon was not merely indifferent. He was calculating, preparing the ground for her removal, ensuring she would have nothing when the final blow came. Monica's turning point arrived on a quiet afternoon, a moment of profound clarity amidst the chaos. She picked up her phone and dialed Tobias Green, her former law partner, and the only confidant she truly trusted. Tobias, knowing Monica's sharp intellect and disciplined approach, listened intently as she recounted Dixon's cold dismissal, the financial locks, and Cindy's strategic reappearance. "If you're ready, we'll pull everything apart," Tobias affirmed, his voice resonating with unwavering loyalty. Their collaboration began with meticulous care. Monica, though years out of active practice, possessed an intimate knowledge of Dixon's company, a sixth sense for where the vulnerabilities lay. Together, they sifted through public filings, corporate reports, and carefully guarded boardroom notes. What they unearthed painted a devastatingly clear picture. Dixon's betrayal stretched back far beyond the twins' birth. Emails surfaced, revealing Cindy's renewed connection months before Monica became pregnant. Flirtations, private meetings, and undisclosed business trips, all pointing to a rekindled romance that predated his desire for a family. Monica's heart ached anew, seeing how casually Dixon had shifted his attention, as if his wife and unborn children were secondary to a woman who had once abandoned him. The weight of this calculated deceit settled heavily upon her, fueling her resolve with a cold, clear fire. The personal betrayal, though searing, was merely the tip of a vast iceberg. Tobias, with Monica's sharp guidance, followed the labyrinthine trails of money. Dixon had covertly funneled substantial company resources into Cindy's struggling advertising agency. What initially appeared as shrewd strategic partnerships were, in truth, financial lifelines designed to keep Cindy's business afloat. Contracts were padded, invoices inflated, and favors disguised as legitimate deals, all to prop up his former lover. "The hand that gives often expects a return," Monica mused bitterly, seeing Dixon's actions as a deliberate redirection of wealth, meant for his burgeoning empire, now serving Cindy's personal and professional relevance. As their investigation deepened, a more disturbing pattern emerged. Dixon's financial manipulations weren't solely about aiding Cindy. They were about systematically cutting Monica out. He had meticulously shifted assets into inaccessible trusts, opened shell accounts overseas, and funneled dividends into side ventures that bypassed their joint estate. "He wasn't just preparing to leave you, Monica," Tobias explained, gripping the desk. "He was trying to erase you entirely from the wealth you both built, and worse, from your children's inheritance." The revelation stung, but it also brought a chilling clarity. This wasn't impulsive emotion. It was a methodical attempt to rewrite his life, as if their years together and the family they forged were merely disposable chapters in his grand, selfish narrative. Monica's discovery of Dixon's intent to erase her brought a renewed focus. Her heartbreak crystallized into unshakable resolve. She was no longer just a woman discarded for her postpartum body. This was a calculated plan to excise her from his life, to replace her with Cindy as the centerpiece of his revised story. Tobias guided her, meticulously documenting every payment, every signature, every email chain that unveiled the timeline of his deceit. Monica's legal training, long dormant, surged back. She highlighted inconsistencies, cross-referenced documents, and organized the evidence with the precision of a master artisan. Dixon had gravely underestimated the very skills that had once made her a formidable force in the courtroom. One late evening, Tobias uncovered something that chilled Monica to her core, a revelation far more heinous than financial fraud. Mishandling at the fertility clinic they had used. Records suggested Dixon knew months in advance that the clinic had breached protocols, potentially endangering Monica and the twins. Instead of protecting his family, he had quietly arranged for a cover-up, safeguarding his investments in the clinic's expansion. "He knew," Monica whispered, her voice barely audible, staring at the report. "He knew and let me carry the risk without a word." This wasn't merely betrayal. It was a profound disregard for life itself. This knowledge became her sharpest weapon, a moral anchor that could shatter Dixon's carefully constructed empire beyond repair. The day of reckoning arrived, heavy with the weight of Monica's unwavering resolve. She sat across from Dixon at the long mahogany table, a picture of serene composure, her files a silent fortress. Dixon, radiating an arrogance that still clung to him like expensive cologne, entered with Cindy, who appeared dressed for a gala rather than a legal battle. He smirked, confident in his perceived victory, oblivious to the storm brewing. Monica merely nodded to Tobias, who began unveiling the meticulous evidence: time-stamped messages, detailed financial logs, and corporate records that painted a stark picture of deceit. Dixon's smirk faltered, his jaw tightening as the truth, like a relentless desert wind, began to strip away his facade. The first blow landed with the projection of text messages, proving his affair with Cindy began during Monica's pregnancy, laden with cruel jokes about her condition and promises to replace her. Dixon shifted uncomfortably, adjusting his tie, his bravado cracking. Monica then presented undeniable bank records, exposing how Dixon had siphoned company funds into Cindy's failing agency, an act of fraud and betrayal. His legal team exchanged nervous whispers. Finally, Monica herself rose. Her voice, calm and deliberate, filled the room. "You thought you could erase me," she declared, her gaze fixed on him. "But what you failed to calculate is that I've built my career protecting people from men like you. Today, you are the defendant." The room fell silent, Cindy's bravado collapsing as the reality of her own precarious position became starkly clear. Dixon, his composure utterly shattered, could only muster a weak, defensive protest. Monica, however, was resolute. "Fight if you want, but every detail you've seen today will go before the board, the shareholders, and the press. The choice is yours. Settle with dignity or be dragged through the mud you created." His lawyers knew the implications: fraud charges, shareholder lawsuits, and the total collapse of his meticulously curated empire. Tobias delivered the final devastating blow: evidence of Dixon's cover-up of the fertility clinic's mishandling. While not directly complicit, his callous disregard for Monica's and the twins' well-being painted him as a man devoid of humanity, a truth no jury could ignore. Dixon signed the settlement documents, each stroke of his pen a surrender, not just of assets, but of his carefully constructed identity. Monica emerged not gloating, but with quiet power. She secured majority custody of her twins, shielding them from his recklessness. The grand family estate, once his symbol of status, was hers, along with a significant equity stake in his company, ensuring her voice on the board. News of his downfall spread like wildfire through Azania's elite circles. His carefully crafted image shattered. Cindy's agency collapsed, clients abandoning her, leaving her to face mounting debts and obscurity. Monica, however, soared. Her career blossomed, her firm expanded, and she became a beacon of resilience, advocating for women and families. Her twins, growing up strong and loved, were her true triumph. In the end, Dixon, now a ghost of his former self, sat in the audience of her triumphant keynote address, a silent witness to the magnificent woman he tried to erase. Monica, the Sapphire unveiled, had not just survived. She had conquered, forging a legacy that shone brighter than any billionaire's empire. If you enjoyed the story, then like, subscribe, and share this story with your loved ones. Also, tell us in the comments where you are watching from.